welcome to the first Friday forum of 2025. And as I'm looking out the window right now, it's like our first blizzard of the year. So, oh my goodness, 2025 brought the snow with it, at least where we are. Hope you are all doing well, staying warm. Hope you had a wonderful holiday season, regardless of what holiday you celebrate. And even if you're currently celebrating holidays or are looking forward to celebrating holidays, as long as you're celebrating, that's really all that counts. I've often had students and friends ask me over here. They say, Dave, you're an American, but you live in the Czech Republic. You have a Czech family. How are you going to celebrate your holidays? I talked in the last Friday forum about some similarities and differences between our holidays. And I say, well, why not celebrate both? I think you should never put a lid or a cap or anything logical that prevents you from celebrating, as much as possible. If you want to do Christmas into Hanukkah, go for it. If you want to do Christmas into Hanukkah, into New Year's, into Russian New Year's, into Chinese New Year's, do it. Because, the world can be very dark and dismal sometimes. So I think we definitely need to, I think, lessen the threshold for what it takes to declare a celebration, maybe. I think that just might be the ticket. Who knows? But I'm feeling very jubilous. I'm looking at the camera, I promise. But like I said, I just got this, this is one of the first big snowfalls of the year. And it literally started not 2 minutes before this forum began. So if I seem a little turned away from the camera, I do apologize. But regardless, it's great to hear from you. It's great to see you again. We had a lot of people graduate over the holiday break, which I guess that's the time, right? So a lot of graduates leaving the course, coming into the garden. Welcome if it's your first time here. I see a few new faces in our TEFL garden, in our teacher's garden. On the page here. If you're tuning into YouTube or any of the podcast channels, or if you're new here, welcome. Like I said, you do not have to be a TEFLPros grad to join our forum and hang out with us. If getting a TEFL certificate is something that you'd be interested in, feel free to reach out. Myself, the webpage, www.teflpros.com. You can hit me up at david@teflpros.com. That's my first name, David, last name Rankin. I'm the president and CEO, head honcho, big cheese, yada, yada, yada. But this is our first cast of the new year. I had to really figure out what day it was to get into this. So I'm kind of winging it today. But that's cool. That's cool too. It's okay to wing it. Not a whole lot of notation into today. So we'll see where we go. We'll see where we wind up today. No more, no less. It's me and you, but it is the new year. I think a first thing to start, and this is something that goes across, transcends multiple, borders and countries. And usually when it comes time for a new year, we kind of, sit back and reflect on our previous year. The good, the bad, the ugly, the tragic, the happy. They maybe take stock in it all. And we use a lot of those thoughts, events, to kind of figure out where our trajectory is going. If we're heading in the right direction, if we need a change. And, over my various New Year's Eves, I've actually used that to be much more contemplative than I had previously. Usually it's a reason to go out and drink way too much, make questionable decisions, and wake up on the 2nd of January feeling mild, we'll say. Mild is a good way. But in my later years, I'm no spring chicken anymore. Um, I I prefer to spend this time just kind of taking stock, like checking a bank account, only like a mental bank account, a philosophical bank account, a um, you know, psychological bank account, and you see where you're at, and you look at all of your metaphorical transactions, and you kind of say, all right, what are my overs, what are my unders, what am I doing well, what am I not doing too well at, what was important to me, and what was not so hot. And this last year, I mean, and I hope it was this way for a lot of you, this last year was a real good one. On all accounts, all accounts. It was a very good year. Spiritually, it was a very good year. Philosophically, it was a very good year. Business wise, it was a very good year. Socially, a lot of positivity came out of these last 12 months. Um, Not that I'm saying it didn't come with challenges. It definitely did. I don't know a year that hasn't. When you are essentially the spear tip of four separate entities, you're gonna hit some armor, from time to time. But when you take stock of it all, the overall vibe was really, really good this year, which I'm very, very thankful for. And I have a lot of people who are responsible for that. So thank you all. Essentially, if you are in my life, that's part of it right there. So I thank you for that. But then that takes us to, what do we do on a New Year's? A lot of people, they make a resolution, right? We decide what we're going to change or what we need to add to our lives. And it can be something as small as, dieting or working out, or, you know, doing something that's not so healthy less, doing something that's more healthy more. Or maybe it could be one of those life overhaul types of years. It really depends on the person. To those of you who actually plan to do it, I salute you. I wasn't so lucky. My most of my major life events kind of just showed up. And if you were one of the people listening to this and you were one of the people involved in that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, I rarely had a new year, new me kind of vibe. I was just kind of, you know, let's see where I land. But let's talk about you for a sec. Let's talk about you. What are your thoughts about this upcoming year? What are the changes? Um, are we looking for new employment? Employment's always a big one. Whether you're not satisfied with your work, whether you're not satisfied with the type of work you're doing, your work, it doesn't always have to be a change for money. When I became an English teacher, that was probably one of the, if you're just talking dollars to dollars, probably one of the lightest I've ever been paid. To the point where, my, the IRS asked me if I wanted to go on unemployment, and I said, no, I'm good. I'm just making money in the Czech Republic. That's all. It's just a little bit less over here. Maybe, you want a change of scenery. Maybe it's, you've looked out the same window one too many times. Maybe the area you're in, isn't as bright and shiny as it once was. I know that, very well, not even just from, growing up in Pittsburgh. Hey, I love me some Pittsburgh. I love it a lot more now that I get to visit it every couple of years. But I would say the same thing about Prague, Czech Republic. There comes a time where no matter where you are, it stops being exotic. And the value that you take from it has to be a little bit more internal. Where I live now, I don't live in Prague. I live about an hour away in a small little town that is, in my eyes, perfect. It is tiny. It is surrounded by nature. There are rivers, there are castles, there are chateaus, there's forests. There's no traffic lights. There's tiny little eateries and restaurants and shops. There's a beautiful mall with water fountains in it. Um, it's very picturesque, and it's slow. It's a slow, I wouldn't say sleepy. It can bustle as far as bustling towns go, but it's definitely no city by any stretch. So maybe you're like that. Maybe you are looking for somewhere that might be different. Maybe you're just looking for a catalyst, a reason to change things up, and you're still waiting for that reason to fall into your lap. For me, of course, it was getting a TEFL certificate. That was what uh, sprung me into all of those changes. It changed my world financially. It changed my world geographically. It changed my perspectives of the world. It was the first time as a teacher that other people really relied on me beyond some sort of mechanism. Whether I was working in a factory or driving the truck or something like that, you know, I was human, but still not, the I was sitting around waiting for machines to replace me in almost every job I had in the United States. Um, so what's your change? Do you need a change? Are you satisfied with the status quo? If you are, awesome. I know very few Americans who are. Something I always say to my clients is that we, as a generalization, are fatally attracted to upward mobility. And it's not even just something that, we have to make more money, as I said before, but we just need to be moving in what is at least perceived to be an upward trajectory. You're growing something, you're building something, you're doing something. And I think that's what brings a lot of people into a TEFL course, because it serves as a launch pad to so many different things. You can teach remotely. So you can, if you're just trying to make some extra income from where you are, and maybe the town you're in, the area you're in is a little dry economically, suddenly you can work online and teach people in China, Japan, South Korea, Costa Rica, Czech Republic, um, Oceania, anywhere people need to learn English. If you have Wi-Fi, you suddenly have the ability to earn and generate with a simple certificate. Let's say you want to get up and get out. Maybe the fjords of Norway are calling to you. Maybe you've longed to ride elephants in India, or to experience deserts, mountains, seas, jungles, islands, culture, food. All of this is can, or at least can be achieved by using an English certificate or a TEFL certificate as your vehicle. And I've seen a lot of people go that route. Does TEFL have to be your end all? Of course not. That's silly. You don't have to teach forever. A lot of clients, a lot of people who've taken my course, they use it as the foot through the door. And once you get where you're going, because teaching English as a foreign language, that'll get you into any country that English is not the native language. That'll get your foot in the door almost anywhere. Is it going to put you on a 100-foot yacht? Probably not. It's possible. I guess everything's possible. But it's also it's a means. And you can take that, and then once you are there, once you are in that economy, once you are in that culture, that place you want to be, you can then expand your horizons. Maybe you have a different skill set that you needed to be physically in that culture to be able to um, utilize. We'll say that's a good word for it. So think about that a little bit. Because I think a lot of people who look at a TEFL course would say something to the effect of, well, I couldn't see myself being a teacher. I couldn't teach forever. I couldn't, I have all these other ambitions. Well, make it your magic carpet. you know, make it your vehicle to get where you want to go. Yeah, you can. I mean, people need architects in Cambodia. People need skill-setted people all over the world. However, if you're applying for a job remotely from, Black Hills, South Dakota, then, someone who might be halfway around the world may not, fully trust that you're going to show up in their office for a job interview the following week. So maybe teaching English is just kind of a means to an end. It can be seen that way. So I then revert back to you guys, and once again, this is going to be a super long one. I'll get into the headier topics in the upcoming weeks. This is just kind of a welcome back vibe. But yeah, what are you looking for? What's going to be your, I used this word the other day when I talked to one of my colleagues. What is going to be your magnum opus? It's Latin for great work. What is going to be your magnum opus that's going to, leave its mark? And is 2025 going to be the calendar year, the circle around the sun that it gets done? Who knows? But I hope we get to be a part of it. I hope that, myself, my team, my wonderful group of people, the companies I staff, the network that I've built over these past 8 or so years. I hope we get to help you realize your passions, your goals, and, bring you to a certain level of satisfaction, I guess, in this new year. And if not, maybe we'll be talking about the same thing next year. We'll see what happens. A lot of things could happen in a calendar year. But the TEFLPros team, we are ready and rearing to go. We have a bunch of social media stuff that's going to be rolled out. So if you are following us on X or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, there's going to be a lot of action going on there, a lot of interactive stuff. Of course, the teacher garden is going to be going full tilt. The course is still just defying all expectations. It's doing great. We're really chiseling our place into the world, especially after a change in management and whatnot. We've really hit our stride, and we're just going to be building on top of that. So in the TEFLPros world, that's going to be a pivotal year. And I'm very excited for a lot of these things. I'm excited for, some planned holidays coming up this year. I'm excited to spend time, of course, as always, with my family, with my wonderful colleagues, with the students in the TEFLPros course currently and who will be enrolling in the future, as well as the people who will be coming to Czech Republic. Can't wait to hang out with you guys as well. There's so much to be happy and excited for in 2025. And it's just, I could probably gush about it for another hour or so, but that's not what we're here to do. So that's the idea of the New Year's resolution as far as taking the TEFL course, things like that. But what about goal setting? All right, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Then we'll hop up out of here. Setting goals for yourself. That's always the tricky part, because I think the New Year's resolution to most has to be some grand divine action. When I think a lot of times it's easier to set goals. We just had a new young lady enroll in our course last week. And when I was talking to her, she said, this course looks huge. And just taking it all in from someone who hasn't taught before, it just seems just so massive that I don't know where to even start wrapping my mind around it. Sorry, a little bit of water there. And I told her, look, don't think about the events 3 steps ahead of you. Don't think about what just is behind you. Focus on where you are and what you need to accomplish in that arena only, because that'll make things so much easier. If you just focus on that item, that module, getting through that quiz, doing that assignment, putting together that portfolio piece, if you just do that and that's all you focus on, then it'll seem like a breeze. It might take a couple hours, but you're talking about a couple hours versus 120 hours, which is the entire course. Same way, like maybe talking about a college degree, right? You don't take it as a 4-year, this is what I have to accomplish. You might take it semester by semester. You might take it course by course, or even just class by class, hour by hour. Because as long as you can minimize something to the point where it is manageable for you psychologically, then, to play on the previous word, it can be managed. It can be done. And I think when it comes to goal setting, that is really the catalyst behind it. It's not about, saying that, let's say hypothetically, you want to lose 50 pounds. That's an enormous, that can be a quarter of a human. Yeah. That is a lot of person to get rid of without the use of amputation. So how do you do that? Well, you don't. You say, I'm going to lose 3 pounds. I'm going to lose 5 pounds. I'm going to lose half a pound. Whatever it takes for you to get to the next step. And the idea is that you need to make that next step achievable, at least in your mind. Because otherwise, you're talking about people who, and I've seen them do this, when it comes to weight loss and whatnot, they have a real good month or two. And I am very guilty of this as well. They have a really, really good stoic month or two and they start to see but the thing is they go so hard because they're focused on just the whole 50 pounds that by the time they get halfway there, they're so burnt and so fried out from months and months and months of treadmilling and weightlifting and doing stupid planks for God only knows how long, that they completely burn out and then they just turn themselves back into a loaf of bread over the course of the next 3 or 4 months and rinse, repeat. So goal setting, do something small, accomplish something small, maybe map out what you want the end result to be, but you're going to have to compartmentalize this. You're going to have to make this something that fits into manageable processes. That's what you do. And by the time you achieve the goal, the end result, and this is the cruelty of it, because I have achieved a few goals in my life, not a whole lot, but a few. I've achieved a couple. The ones that you truly achieve, by the time you're there, you don't feel like you really did much. That's the crazy part. That is, the steps that it took from, let's say in my case, and I'll put this very lightly, moving to the Czech Republic with a backpack. And in that backpack was a Ziploc bag, a little Ziploc sandwich bag with money in it. and there was no other money, no trust funds, no, no money backing me, anything like that. My first bank account in the Czech Republic was my pillowcase. Um, and you build slowly but surely. You mind yourself, you enjoy yourself, you have good days, bad days, you have successful days, you have days where you hit your buddies up saying, hey man, can if I cook some food, will you bring it over for me to cook and I'll share it with you? I promise. You have that. And then 12 years later, you might, be on, your second mortgage. And those are, things that by the time you get the mortgage, you're just kind of like, yeah, of course, cool. Sign me up. Where do I sign? No biggie. You're not sitting there just because it wasn't I thought of it and then I did it 10 minutes later. You set small goals and you achieve those small goals. You have small setbacks and you play yourself upward, just like a stock ticker. You dip, you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, you rise, you fall. But you keep that upward motion and you'll get where you're going. So that's, I think, the idea of goals. Whether it be for New Year's, whether your goal be to get totally, what's the word now? Shredded. Whether you want to, get rich, whether you want to, fall deeply, madly in love, whether you want to do one of the things I talked about, travel, experience the new world, go to a world where money isn't that big of a deal. There's places where you'll get paid and, you won't feel like you don't have a lot of money because there's not a lot of things pressing you for money. I think a lot of times, and I feel this whenever I go back to the USA, I feel like when I'm in America, everything costs something. And I come back and I look at my bank account and I go, whew, that was a week. Now, obviously I'm traveling. I don't have a home. I don't have, I'm out a lot. But I still compare it to, like, let's say when I travel in Europe, whether I go even somewhere big, like, compare Pittsburgh to, like, I don't know, even somewhere like Vienna or something like that. I'll go to Vienna and I'll be there for a week. And the bills don't even come close. And I said, maybe I'll go again, and I'll be in the USA at some point in time this year. And I'll do a side by side comparison. But then, I come back to my small little humble town, and frankly, outside of like entertainment, there's really not much to spend a whole lot of money on here, but you have everything you need. So, we good. Like that's the idea. So that's a little bit on goals for you guys, So if you are wondering on what you want to pour your time into, or even how to pour your effort into it, or how to just make this year's goal or this year's resolution stick, I am by no means a goal expert or anything, or a New Year's resolution expert. I've, burned through more resolutions than I actually achieve, but I still make them. And every now and then some of them work. And I like to think that I'm better for it. And those around me are better for it. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? So maybe, I said, if you're watching this on the YouTube, or if you're in my teacher's garden, I know a couple of you guys have made it this far, still watching me after our conversation. Jump into the comments. What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? And maybe one of my organizations can help you along the way. That'd be cool. So feel free to reach out to me. I said, if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe. I said, if you're on one of my other social media sites, jump into a few more. We're going to be doing some pretty cool stuff. And of course, if you are interested in enrolling in a 120-hour accredited TEFL course, shoot me a message. I do have a Calendly link on the webpage where we can have a one-on-one talk. I promise I will not be as preachy as I am on these Friday forums. This just gives me a chance to kind of let out the week. In fact, this is probably the first conversation I've had with a non-relative since our last time talking. So either way, I'm always thankful to have you guys here. I wish you all a very happy and prosperous, however you want to define that, 2025, and I'm looking forward to being part of your journey, and I'm excited that you guys are part of mine. So thank you, and please take care of yourselves.